All right, let's talk about assignment 6, which has 2 parts. So the rhetorical analysis final submission due this week. So remember that is a huge grade, and you've had plenty of time from the draft to now with the self-review, the examples I've provided, check the announcements again to take a look at the engaging opener, title, thesis statement that I provided weeks ago. Look through the Nancy Mayer's disability Google Slides, which also provides a good example of a thesis statement. Take into account my comments and put the final touches on your revision, which literally means to see again. So hopefully you've walked away from what you've written, returned in a metaphorical but also a literal way, returned to it to look at it, hopefully more than once, and tweaked it. One thing that I would say is a best final step would be to read it out loud to yourself, because sometimes when you read it inside your head, your brain fills in gaps that are there. So you won't notice it until you read it out loud and you stumble a little bit on some of the syntax, which would be sentence structure, some of the wording, or you notice, oh, there's a word missing here. That would be the necessary final step. Just take a minute, read it out loud to yourself, slowly, carefully, paying attention to the language, the content. Do you have a clear line of reasoning? Is it a rhetorical analysis? There's also a sample essay that was included where you go back to the module for the rough draft. Outside of that, there's a second part. The second part is a Pamela Paul essay. You read one of her essays, The Case for File Cabinets, earlier in the semester. So you're going to take a look at another one of her essays and just apply some of our rhetorical terms and techniques. And then that closes out rhetorical analysis. Then we head towards the argumentative research essay. The goal would be, and remember, everything builds on itself. So why are we moving to argumentative research essay? Think about everything that we've just done in your study of rhetorical analysis as looking at Einreich or Chang's text with a critical eye, with a rhetorical eye, as master mentor texts. How do they make moves as professional writers? And now it's your turn to start thinking of, how can I make a well-structured argument that's persuasive, that incorporates these rhetorical techniques, some of them? What kind of logical appeals am I bringing, emotional appeals? How do I build my credibility? And you will build your credibility on the backs of the more knowledgeable others that you cite in your argumentative. And this is why it's called the research essay, because you have to provide research. And that research is your credibility. The credibility of the research you provide makes your credibility. That's why it's important. So your audience is going to be me for this, but then the last thing that we do is going to be the multimodal assignment, which is you taking the same argument that you make in your argumentative research essay, and you're taking it outside the classroom. So what happens if you want to broaden your audience? Not just Mr. Ruoff, not just your classmates, but society as a whole, or the world. How would you take your argument beyond the bounds of our classroom? Kind of easier when you're face-to-face to say these 4 walls. In an asynchronous classroom, take it beyond, we'll just say the 4 walls of this phone screen that I'm recording it on. But that's the goal. So that's where we're headed. So I look forward to reading your final rhetorical analysis submissions, your work on Pamela Paul's essay, and then we're going to shift over, and next week you're going to watch some TED Talks, and you're going to try to pull a thread, something, an idea that you could make an argument about. So it's like mining it for an idea. All right?